stay until we can't any longer. Or yeah.
All right.
Right.
Um,
This is Pookie and
so
Mark in the morning. Hey, Kevin.
hey, how's it
Okay.
going?
All
Hey,
right.
Mark.
And hello, YouTube.
Um, I already forgot there was something that you guys were gonna teach me because I didn't know what it was when you said it, but it did sound interesting. Something like the Darwin Project or something like that. What was it?
Mm.
Oh,
Kevin, you want to take it?
uh, the Darwin Project. Was that
The
for
Fermi,
me
is it
or
the Fermi paradox?
oh the
You mean?
The
Fermi
perma
paradox?
paradox.
Yes.
There we go.
Um, you were better at explaining it, but essentially, because of the expansion of the universe, if intelligent life hasn't formed yet, it won't uh, communicate with us now. Is that essentially right? Uh,
I don't know. I mean, we could walk through a little bit more of the details of it. I think I mean, there's so much behind it though that I'm not sure we might need to break this up and make it kind of an episodic thing. Um,
Come on, I'm
uh,
ready to learn.
yeah, so essentially the equation was a like a statistical thought experiment, essentially, because there's so many stars in the galaxy and so many galaxies in the universe that if we take, and just look at maybe sorry, Kevin?
oh no! I was just
Oh, I
thinking
thought
of something. I didn't mean
I
to
thought I
raise my
saw
hand
you.
and
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so many star if we just consider like our galaxy alone, just for the sake of simplicity, then um, take the size of our galaxy, the Milky Way, and how many billions of stars there are in the Milky Way. And then from that gigantic number, you take what percentage, statistical percentage of those stars have planets that are in this habitable zone, this ring around the star where a planet can exist with liquid water on the surface so that, because that's necessary for the function of life as we know it. Um, and then how many of those planets in that habitable zone um, end up actually supporting life? How much life is out there? And then what subset of that even? It's a subset of a subset of a subset. We go even further. What percentage of life-bearing planets develop intelligent life? And then what subset of intelligent life develops societies and technology? What subset of those technological planets don't destroy themselves with their technology, right? And
yeah.
become spacefaring? And then, what number of those spacefaring um, um, civilizations, go out and spread across the stars? And what is the likelihood that those spacefaring civilizations would be reaching out to um, intelligent life on planets that are, that many steps beneath them in this whole system of, subset of a subset of a subset? So it's kind of asking, there should be, even even though that number gets whittled down so many times, so many um, uh, um, I don't know. It's so much smaller, such a small percentage of the total number of stars in the galaxy. That still leaves millions of galactic civilizations that should be out there communicating with each other, doing all of this stuff. So why is space silent to us? Why are none of them detectable to us? That's the paradox. There should be, even the most conservative estimates, there should be everywhere life. And we don't see, at least we do not see life in the particular form or paradigm that we would have expected to be seeing it when that equation was put together. So that raises a very, very big question. Is spacefaring technological civilization, galactic civilization even possible? It might not be. There might be an upper limit to the ability of an intelligent species to extend beyond its own star system. Or we might just be so insignificant to these civilizations that they don't see us as anything more than like an ant colony that we would look at, next to a big building that we're living in, working in, doing all of our stuff. We don't care about those ants on the pavement there, right? They're not even a consideration in all of our societal designs. So, yeah, the Fermi paradox and the likelihood of extraterrestrial life. I mean, and another possibility, another possible reason, explanation is that we, humanity, are unique in the universe. That, life as it exists here is unlike anything anywhere else. But why? And that starts to move into questions of theology that, I mean, it's difficult to be taken seriously in STEM fields with any sort of tendency towards that sort of, oh, there's a creator of the life, you know. But even that could be like kicking the can down the road. If life here needs a creator, then why didn't the creator need a creator? If we're talking about extraterrestrial life like panspermia, if life here was planted by an extraterrestrial life, where did that extraterrestrial life come from? Why didn't they need to be planted? Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking so much now.
That's
Um,
fine.
Kevin deserves a turn. Do you have any input on that?
Well, I'll say first, we were talking about the billions and billions and solar systems just in our galaxy alone. There's, I think there's also billions and billions of galaxies. So there's got to be trillions of stars uh, or trillions of planets. Um,
Yeah, and that's just
now,
the bubble around us that we call the visible universe, too.
I cannot believe that we are an anomaly with those sort of numbers. I mean, we were just the way life evolves. it's a very simple process that I mean, that's um, you have to find the way Earth came about was all the perfect things. It had to have water, had to have the right distance from the sun, had to have everything, an atmosphere.
Yeah,
Um,
like the God of the gaps type of
yeah,
reasoning for
right.
making
Uh,
that. Yeah.
and there's a telescope that's been examining, you know, planets specifically and it's only examined two or 2,500 or 3,000 planets so far. They've found amazing things, but nothing close to the things that can support life. But nothing that supports life, obviously. Um, but I just can't accept that we're an anomaly with versus that number of stars or that number of um, places to call home. I guess places to call home and evolve. And yeah, I think if extraterrestrials came here, they would be very interested. Why not? They would be,
Are we that interesting?
you know, but
Maybe
they
not
are.
we individuals, but I think societally, the the splitting of the atom is a major milestone. It seems, I mean, this is just me thinking, this is not anybody else, so it may be completely wrong, but it seems to me that the splitting of the atom is kind of a make it or break it point in the development of a society's technology. You're either going to go on and do incredible things, it unlocks levels of energy that were unfathomable to people just a century before it. Um, you can, you know, go to the stars, or you can go to dust. Like we were just talking about Fallout the other day, right? We see the
Yeah.
the the potential that, it, yeah, I don't know. And then fusion beyond that, like one step beyond that, nuclear physics, if we can create and harvest the energy from a what amounts to a miniature star, the
Mm,
amount of clean energy that that unlocks is a game changer. But, that's essentially already been done in the form of thermonuclear weapons. We fused atoms long before um, or only shortly after we split them using
you,
basically a
do you think
nuclear
there's any
bomb.
advance beyond scientific advance beyond fusion, or because it seems like if we want to travel through space, even that won't do it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. There needs to be something, everything that we're doing, working on, thinking about right now is based off of like mass reaction, right? You move forward by spewing things out the back, and how to harness that to accelerate with a nuclear fusion That's that's a big question. But beyond that, the amount of energy, like that's something that can be done like on the back of an envelope. So, I mean, some people can do on the back of an envelope. You know, you have a certain amount of mass in your spaceship, you have a certain distance you want it to go, you have a speed that you want it to achieve to get there, right? You can figure out how much kinetic energy that spaceship needs. And those numbers are beyond anything that we can reach. I mean, even with fusion at this point. So it seems, barring any sort of just paradigm changing um, breakthrough, like we're basically trapped here in this solar system. We got a few planets to play with. Um, you know,
Do you think
So I
that
guess we're not gonna.
mankind itself? Do you think that ever mankind itself would go to another planet? Like, what if Earth gets too bad for us? What if we can't survive in the atmosphere anymore?
yeah,
Global
that's
warming,
why
stuff like
Musk
that.
that's why Musk is saying we need to think about Mars, right?
Mm.
Um, what do you
I
think, Eddie?
I think that when I first heard him say that, I said, "Why don't we just clean up this planet?"
Yeah.
And I, like, it
Good
wouldn't
idea, Tyler.
wouldn't Mars be I'm gonna almost segue into another topic here, but wouldn't Mars just be a seems like 1% of the Earth would be able to travel to Mars, and I wonder who that 1% would be.
Hmm.
Those who can afford.
I'm, I don't think I could afford a ticket to Mars.
No.
Elon could.
Probably me neither.
But well, there would be those who can afford, but also those who are necessary, right?
Yeah, that
There would
too.
be, I assume that in this admittedly somewhat dystopian imagined scenario where I'm thinking, okay, Earth needs to be evacuated. The people who can afford to get their way in and off of the planet seem
Well,
kind of obvious. But then there's also another, the rich elite are not necessarily always the smartest and the most
no,
technically
you're right.
capable. Um, there need, well, I don't know. Maybe that's why they're pushing AI so much. That's why Musk's Grok is going to be better than all of humanity's doctors combined. He won't need to
Mm.
bring the technically gifted. He can just bring his buddies and they can have Grok think and do everything, and he'll have his humanoid robots able to serve him.
Ugh,
That's a
creepy.
lot. That's a lot creepier than I thought it was when I,
Yeah,
you know. Wow. Okay.
have all your data, they'll know everything about you.
All your data
Yeah.
are belong to us. What
Well,
was that? Where
it's
was
like
that
the
from? Right? All your base are belong to us. You remember that? It was from a video game.
you guys believe the apocalypse is coming?
Yeah.
Define apocalypse?
Uh, Fallout.
I don't know. Fallout, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it could, maybe. I think it's unlikely in the way that Fallout depicts it. Um, Interestingly enough, I think we're getting a lot closer and closer to sort of what can be gleaned out of biblical revelation and that apocalypse than Fallout and everything. The way that um, everything seems to be focused and set and decided around that area, that region. There's increasing tensions, increasing war in that area. And not to make it religious or anything, but I think that over there is more likely than over here being blasted. Um, the word Armageddon actually comes from that region. There's a city, an ancient city, called Megiddo, and so Armageddon comes from Har Megiddo, which is the battle at Megiddo, which in the book of Revelation, there are seven armies arrayed against Israel, surrounding them and ready to converge. And, that's, the final battle. Armageddon is fought at that place. And that city of Megiddo has actually recently been identified archaeologically. And it's right there, right in where it was supposed to be. It's interesting.
Sounds
Very
awful.
interesting.
Well,
Huh?
I'll be Armageddon out of here
Yeah,
if
I'll
that
I'll be
happens.
I'll be keep my
That's
distance from
that. That's my stupid joke for the day.
yeah.
Armageddon. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Arma got it. Arma got it. Yeah.
All right.
Um, yeah. I, I don't know. Maybe that's why Musk is so intent on building um Starship and getting over to Mars. Maybe he sees that and he doesn't want to be human getting out of there. That doesn't work, does it? No, he'd be getting. But yeah,
Well,
it's
I see a conflict with him. So many. He's going to need so much power and fossil fuels for the next whatever he does is the rest of his life. I mean, it conflicts with green policy, any sort of saving. And I think that is the number one threat to the world. Not necessarily nuclear fallout, but because I don't think that's going to happen. Uh, People have played it very safe with the nuclear arms. It could happen very, very easily. One crazy authoritarian, Putin could just fire off all the missiles if he gets trapped in a bunker or something. But
not necessarily Putin either these days. Who knows? Might be like have a little itchy trigger finger.
there's still nuclear arms just laying around somewhere. They don't know how many nuclear bombs are on the planet. The government doesn't know how many are on the planet. Odd
Yeah,
that
in
we have.
in total, like they haven't counted
Yeah.
our bombs, or are you talking about like the broken arrow scenarios? Because I guess well, they're both part of the same issue, aren't they? I know that there's like at least something like a dozen or so broken arrows where a nuclear bomb was being flown on a bomber. There was a short period where before ICBMs were built in standard in the US, they had B-52s up in the air with nuclear weapons constantly ready because if the Russians attacked and sent everything, they had demonstrated with Sputnik they can put something up in orbit. If they can put it in orbit, they can bring it down anywhere they want. So Russia had ICBMs. America's answer was put bombers up, run them 24/7 with nuclear weapons on them all the time. And some of those bombers crashed with their nuclear weapons on them. And some of those
Mm,
weapons haven't been recovered.
right. Yeah, it's a scary thought. And we don't have a full inventory of ours either.
Really, that like the active inventory? It's just
Both.
like
I think it's
approximately,
both.
yeah. Wow. I mean,
Um,
don't they also um like aren't there certain warheads that get retired after a certain operational lifespan and then the nuclear material gets reintegrated into, processed into a new uranium core or plutonium core for a next generation warhead.
I don't know. I think they get like put in the closets, and
It would
then
be very, very environmentally sensible of them to be recycling their
oh
nukes.
yeah.
uh,
But but
hmm.
in the past 70, 80 years, I don't think that was their high priority. You know, they weren't looking forward to, you know, they weren't thinking about that.
Got to get the rockets up. That was the big thing. Keep the planes going, keep the bombs ready, keep the Russians away, keep them nervous. Really, can't let them be confident in
have you
uh,
guys heard about like? Well, I'm pretty sure you guys probably haven't heard about California news, right?
is there something happening in California?
There was the biggest, what do they call it, natural disaster. I mean, for men. For
Man-made?
one killing mankind. I think it was 8 or 9 people got caught in an avalanche, and they said it was the worst in American history. I didn't know that the most people that died in avalanche was 9. But yeah, that's what's going on outside in California. And the snow is high up in the hills. So that's a place not many people go unless you're skiing. Um, I can see it from
There's a,
here.
a lot of UFO sightings in the mountain ranges around California and uh,
Mhm.
and up in Washington State. I wanted to talk to Chip about that when he was here, but we had to cut it short. Mount Rainier, UFO hotspot. Mount Shasta, UFO hotspot. So,
You guys
yeah,
ever been to the snow?
I've been in snow.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Not a
Have
fan.
not.
Not a
yeah.
fan.
I got a snowball. I got piles of snow still outside. Yeah,
Oh
You
yeah,
should
I
you
forgot
should
about
it was
that.
frozen for 2 weeks in Philadelphia. Yeah,
box some up and send it to Pookie.
I could do that.
What do you
Yeah.
guys what do you guys know about that one guy? It's Luigi Mangione.
Um, I mean, I know about him.
Yes.
I don't know. Um,
He is the person, the young man who
He's the guy who took out
shot
that
a
whistleblower, I believe.
nah, it
CEO
wasn't
of
a
a
whistleblower.
farm company,
There we go. Something like
pharmaceutical
that.
pharmaceutical company. He
Mm.
shot him.
Yeah, I was reading an article on it, and I didn't know if you guys wanted to go into that, but I had an article on that Luigi Mangione, and
I
I
kind of
could
missed
actually
it.
send it to you guys on
kind of
read it
need
if you'd like.
to take a quick break over there. If you want to read it out loud, I can listen, and then, you know, it's
Um,
all this caffeine,
I was gonna send it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually sent you two articles, Mark. Kevin, I'll send you that one too and see what you think of that. Let me know.
Okay.
Clotted vinegar. Okay. Hold on. I got it. I gotta go pee real quick. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay. Yeah. They said he won't face the death penalty now. I didn't know what he had did was that big of a deal, so I looked into it and I was like, oh, this guy killed someone. Uh, did not know that. And I looked a little bit into it, and he took out the guy from some pharmaceutical company. The video was out of control. I was like, wow, did this in public. Did you see that video? He just walked up and killed that guy in front of the building, like assassinated him.
Yeah. The I don't like watching videos of people getting shot or anything, but uh
Understandable.
the, the I find the background of Luigi Mangione very interesting because he has fans and supporters now. Very small amount, but he was like a really healthy, mentally normal college kid. And he was a surfer, an athlete. He was very social and popular. And then he got his back injured and his life was turned around. He couldn't get good medicine or anything, or they gave him bad medicine. Um, and so he just completely went downhill from this point in life when he got injured, and he seems to have taken it out on the CEO.
Um,
I don't know. I mean, death penalty was always extremely unlikely in a heavily Democrat state like New York. Not surprised that that is the ruling there. Um, Regardless of the medical circumstances that led him to be that frustrated, the CEO of an insurance company is not responsible for the day-to-day in and out management and approval denial of any individual patient's healthcare decisions. This was not a retaliatory, one for one type thing. This was always meant to be a politicized message. Um,
You think so?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, carving messages onto shell casings that get left behind, those were meant to be found. Those were like miniature manifestos. He planned all of this to say something. It may have been motivated by his medical history, but it was always a a protest, not a retaliation, not a personal retaliation. Um, and in that sense, I think the death penalty should be on the table, should be appropriate. Um, this man found, stalked, targeted an individual who had no direct um, interaction with him at all and killed him in broad daylight
Um,
in open,
Actually, it was nighttime.
right, yeah, not, yeah, in
Public.
broad public, yeah. Um, I mean, the firearm that he used with the suppressor, that's
What do you think about all these guys getting shot
that's
in
significant
that time
planning.
span?
I mean,
In
you
that
say he
time
had,
span, within that time span of the Mangione shooting, there was also the Trump shooting, and then there was um, Charlie. What's that guy?
Charlie
They
Kirk.
got
Charlie
Charlie
Kirk.
Kirk. That was in all that was in like the same maybe 2 year span. Uh, Just think about that. I do have something though. I sent something to you, Mark and Kevin. Uh, it was an article on stuff that Obama said about the UFOs, and he said they are true.
Oh, are we going back?
Yeah,
that was kind
I
of a,
really want to talk about aliens. I want to know what you guys know and think about
Well,
this
you
stuff.
you're the one
It's
who
in the
veered us
news a
over
bit, quite a
towards
bit
like
lately.
apple cider vinegar and
Oh yeah, I had that article too.
um I don't know.
Any thoughts on what Obama said?
I didn't see what Obama said.
it was taken out of context. Like he was walking up and he said, "Yes, aliens exist," and I cut it off. Like
Oh,
there was no context. So
oh, that sucks. I had an article. I didn't look into it because I wanted to look into it here, and you already know that it says nothing.
it's not nothing. I mean, I would like to further talk with him about his thoughts on extraterrestrial life, and that would be interesting to get more context about what he meant by that, because you know yeah, I'd like
Viral
to be in it.
CIA file about aliens attacking soldiers takes off with UFO intrigue. I don't
I
know.
mean,
Honestly, though, when you take a step back, all of this alien extraterrestrial stuff is excellent counter espionage type, you know, distraction and stuff. If you've got stuff you're trying to do and develop and this and that and whatnot that you want to keep secret from um, any potential adversaries, what better way to keep people from looking over here than to say, oh, look over there at that. Isn't that, look at those pretty lights? Um, yeah. Uh,
I I think the real distraction in society is the good old divide and conquer. There's nothing wrong with people, looking for UFOs. I think that might be a fun hobby. I'd like to go down to Florida and sit in the nice weather and have a beer and look for UFOs. Sounds fun. Um, I think people make outrageous claims. Politicians do and leaders do, and people start fighting with each other. And we don't realize that we are being used. The country is built from the ground up. We built this country, and uh, we're distracted because we're fighting with each other, and we don't realize how much we really have in common.
Hmm. How much do you guys watch the news?
Yeah. I don't know. Watch like the networks, NBC, CNN, CBS,
Yeah.
um, just whatever happens to be on as I walk through the room when my parents are watching stuff. I don't
I'm gonna
I don't
assume
put
you
much
did
stock
not
in
see on the news. You didn't see um, Jake Paul's brother, I believe it is Logan Paul, right? You didn't see him in the news, did you?
who's Jake Paul.
Well, that says a lot right there. Yeah. Um,
I,
Logan Paul, he sold Logan Paul sold a Pokemon card for $16 million the other day, and
What card?
it's a record by far. Um,
What
yeah,
card? Oh
Pokemon
my
card
God.
worth 16 million. It was he has it in a little case, and it has diamonds around it, and it's on a
Yeah.
necklace. Um, yeah.
I had a card that I got rid of. I had a first edition Dark Raichu, and when I had checked, like this was a couple years ago, but when I had checked, it was valued, had most recently sold for like $280,000, and I
oh,
was just like kicking myself because
Where's your
first
card?
edition, but I don't know, it's gone. I don't have it, so. But the Team Rocket set of cards in Japan had like 60 60 cards. And when Wizards of the Coast brought the Team Rocket set over to the American market, they had all 60 cards, but they also added one character, one card, the Dark Raichu, that was not in the Japanese Team Rocket set. So they numbered it 61 of 60. And a lot of people thought that it was a fake because of that, but it wasn't. And it was incredibly rare. Um, I mean, it was like the Charizard. It was rarer than the foil plated Charizard from the base set. But yeah, it kicking myself. Could have bought a house or a Lamborghini. Dude, how much
Yeah.
Bitcoin could I have bought with all of that back in the day? I could have been one of those Bitcoin bros.
I looked at the news this morning. I look at the news just every Pokemon mark in the morning, just see what's going on, see something I can talk about. And it doesn't seem like Mark is watching the news to get the news today. I also found something about reverse parenting. China's going to take on the basically children teaching the parents instead of parents teaching the children.
Okay, that's
Um,
dangerous.
what do you think about that? Where do you think that's going to go? I think it could be good for places who teach their children things early. But if it's just the average person, yeah, kid teaching. But I say China's that's a good place to try
teachers
it, I guess.
teachers teaching the parents. Is that what you said?
Students teaching the parents. It's called reverse parenting.
Oh no, that sounds stupid. I don't know what you mean. Are are they uh, do they meet qualifications? Are they I mean like are I mean are they up? Do they know everything? Are they already educated, or what's the deal with this?
Um, Gotcha. Here it says in China, reverse parenting is a viral movement among millennial parents who deliberately step back or mimic their children's behavior to foster independence and responsibility. Instead of traditional strict discipline, parents use three main strategies to, end quote, flip the script. One would be the mirrored response. Parents mimic their child's, end quote, bad behavior to show them how to feel. For example, if a child throws a tantrum for ice cream, the parent might also lie on the floor and cry until the surprised child stops to comfort them. Another one says role reversal. Parents act, in quote, weak or helpless to encourage the child to take charge. Viral examples include a 7-year-old managing her family's entire travel itinerary because she, in quote, didn't trust her parents after a previous travel mishap, or child cooking full meals while their parents relax and watch TV. Number three says the consequence experience. Parents allow their children to make their own choices and face natural results. A famous 2020, a famous 2022 case involved a mother who let their 3-year-old out in the freezing weather wearing only a thin, end quote, princess dress so she could learn firsthand why coats are necessary. While supporters argue it builds proactive and capable kids, critics warn it can sometimes lean towards parentification, where children are forced to handle adult burdens too early. Please think about that. Putting the kids in charge.
I think that having parents with fully developed frontal lobes act like children with no self-control in front of the children who don't have the neurological development to understand the significance of this role reversal is just going to foster conflict in the household. It seems very reminiscent of the sort of free parenting trend, some like sort of here in the US where, oh, I just let my child do what he wants, learn on his own terms and stuff. Um, which I mean, it's good to learn from experience, but not at the cost of instruction. And I don't know. I'm biased because of my upbringing, having been homeschooled. I see a lot of what I did being brought up in that, like I learned how to cook when I was 8, 9 years old in the house as part of homeschooling. I learned how to do my own laundry when my parents took a trip, took us on a vacation out west. My mom had my sister and I both figure out national parks that we wanted to see and plan a route that took us to those national parks and back to our flight.
Nice.
Some of that is helpful, Kids don't learn how to do that, or kids didn't learn how to do that from public schools back in the 90s. Now that's just moot with internet searches and maps and whatever, but I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, if I gather anything from this, it's that the Chinese are turning into fat Americans now. They're lazy and no, okay, I'm not lazy. I mean, they're forming a middle class and they're taking on our trends, which I find very interesting because we usually take on all the trends of the East, and
Correct.
you know, and but they're gonna they get to have all of our toxic parenting trends and yeah,
I wonder how
have fun
much
with
of
that.
that, yeah, I wonder how much of that they filter out from like social media networks. Their whole Great Firewall of China, they don't allow a lot of the information coming out of the US to actually get into China. So I don't know. It's ironic. Maybe we're watching China developing the same toxic trends that we did independently. Maybe this isn't an export of values. Maybe this is a natural
Um,
second stage in development of these networks and patterns and technologies becoming available. It's I don't know. It's hard to make guesses and form opinions about China given how strict they are about what comes out, you know.
Certainly, yeah.
Mark, did you have something?
Um, not
I had 5 articles. I used them.
you used all? Well, we could talk more about aliens.
We can go back to aliens. There was quite a bit about aliens.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Do you remember
yeah,
those drones back in like a while ago? It was during the presidential election. People were all freaking out about these drones flying overhead in like New Jersey and whatnot, flying in like grid patterns without the same sort of lighting that the FAA requires for aircraft. People were like, "Oh no, there's aliens coming. They're monitoring, surveying."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions
People
on that?
people freak out over small stuff. Uh, but I do think as an object, as a remote device that you can pretty much uh, spy on people with, you can look into people's houses, you could do a lot of stuff. Um, I want to know if you're spying on me. I want to know what maybe it could look, maybe it should have some laws on it. I know this is a huge hobby and an evolving technology, but yeah, it can be troublesome because of those things I mentioned, and well, perhaps could use some regulation or something.
Because I thought I remembered the whole time that they were saying the government hasn't doesn't they don't know what they are. They're unidentified drones flying around. And then after Like after the elections, after the whole hubbub was gone, I thought that I remembered it coming out that, oh, it was a known project. Like they knew the entire time what they were, and they had approval, and and they just let the entire country's news cycle go nuts for weeks with this. Like, why?
Yeah.
That's another,
Well,
like, look over here, not at what we're doing down here. Pretty lights, look at the lights. Oh no, what are they doing? Like, why? If they knew what was happening, why don't they just say what was happening? Or at least just say it was approved. It is known, it is not the aliens coming.
people like
Oh,
aliens. They want aliens, even though the Chinese hot air balloon turned out to be actually a Chinese hot air balloon. I think there was actually, and yeah, yeah, they're non-stories, but
yeah, what, like, Chinese are like, we promise it's just a weather balloon, totally for realsies. It's like just watching it go all the way across the continent. Like, definitely not a spy balloon, just there, just weather, you know. We had to wait until it was over the Atlantic to shoot it down. What?
Oh, damn. I didn't know
mm,
that. But I did send you guys an article about something a few days ago that happened. A saucer, they say, crashed that they found, or no, that they think is in the hills of the Nevada Sparks. Yeah, it
Saucer
was.
that crashed? There
Yeah,
was, did you know that the word flying saucer actually came from Mount Rainier? There was an incident back in 1947. There was a pilot who was flying um, down past Mount Rainier, and he saw objects, unidentified flying objects going. He described them as a group of nine objects flying in formation in a manner like a saucer skipping across water. And so that description got latched onto by a reporter, and the reporter took it and reported it as flying saucers as opposed to flying like saucers skipping on the water. Because what he saw was not actually round saucer shaped craft. It was just the way that they were flying was what he was describing. So everybody who's seeing flying saucers, they're not seeing what like the original flying saucer report actually saw. How cool is that?
Mark, you think you can read that article I sent you?
Um, 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 early UFOs. Mm, it wants me to disable my ad blocker. Okay. Early UFO sighting claimed saucer crashed on hill near Sparks S. What's the S in?
There's a big S on a hill for Sparks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in Reno. So I guess this is Nevada.
Yes, believe so.
Um, Former President Barack Obama caused a stir over the weekend when he said the aliens were real. Obama spoke with Brian Tyler Cohen in an interview posted on Saturday and suggested that extraterrestrials existed, though he hadn't seen them personally. He also insisted that they're not being kept in the secretive U.S. Air Force base known as Area 51 in southern Nevada. No, of course not. They're being kept at the S4 facility at Groom Lake. Every
Clear.
ufologist knows.
Yeah.
I
Um,
didn't know that.
Mhm.
um, the first widespread reports of UFOs in Nevada took place during 1947's flying disc craze, highlighted by the Roswell incident in New Mexico on July 8th. Here's what northern Nevadans claimed to see that summer. Oh, and then they give a. Do you want me to read the 1947 report? It's got a whole news
Go
thing.
ahead.
Okay, so by John Brackett, Journal City editor, whizzing silently. Oh, wait, no, the title is Tiny Speck whizzes across sky here at unbelievable rate of speed. Many Reno persons see small object. Whizzing silently through the sky at a high altitude and at almost unbelievable speed, a flying disc or saucer or whatever those things are that have been seen during the past 2 weeks was seen for the first time in Reno yesterday. I was one of the few people in Reno who saw the object streak across the blue sky yesterday morning, leaving intermittent trails of bluish white vapor behind it. Um, Across the sky twice. I watched it for less than 2 minutes during that time. It cut off the bottom. Were with us. They watched, or Philip and five. Okay, so it looks like they've got a few different Sorry, they cut that one off. This is not very well, but there's another one. I guess man at Tahoe sees whirling disc. A man who had never heard of flying saucers tonight reported he saw what resembled a flying dishpan traveling swiftly in a whirling motion toward the western mountains near Meeks Bay. The man was J. Hall, 21, at Oakland. He saw the disc at Homewood. It traveled directly over him. He said it appeared to have a copper-colored bottom which glistened as it turned in the air. He was alone in his car. He said he never heard about the discs until he told a neighbor about it. He was told about the commotion they have caused throughout the nation. Okay. So I guess moving on back to the main article, Nevada State Journal reported a UFO sighting in July 1947, including a first-hand account from an editor. A pilot flying over Washington State reported seeing flying saucers in the sky near Mount Rainier on July 24th, 1947. That is a mischaracterization. Now recognized as the first modern-day UFO sighting. This is interesting. Nothing about saucers is seen before that initial article misquoting the pilot saying saucers. And from that point on, everyone, well, I guess not every, but almost universally, they're seen as saucer shapes. Over the next several weeks, people from across the country called in to newspapers and public officials to report their own sightings. Nevada had its first recorded UFO sighting less than 2 weeks later on July 6th. A man stopped by the Nevada State Journal offices in Reno to report one of the contraptions had crashed into the mountain near the Sparks S and sent up a cloud of dust when it hit. He said he wanted to remain anonymous and added that he had no plans to go look for the object. The following day, Journal City editor John Brackett and his wife reported a flying disc crossed the horizon over Reno twice at an almost unbelievable speed before disappearing over the eastern horizon near the mouth of the Truckee River Canyon. He knew his stories would have skeptics. At least 8 other persons in Reno saw the same thing we did, Brackett wrote in the July 8th edition of the Journal. I'm glad of that because the kidding one takes is The kidding one takes is terrific. I personally don't think these hundreds of tales going around about them are so funny anymore. So yeah, that's oh, okay. And there at the very end, finally, there's a picture of the S for Sparks. Letter was first painted in 1925. So it would have been there 20-ish years. But nobody went back to look for any crash debris, anything. It just said that they saw it. And this is 2 weeks after the start of the craze. I wonder when this happened in comparison to the Foo Fighters incident.
What
Do you
happened in
know
the
that?
Foo Fighters incident?
You heard about that? You know where the band Foo Fighters got their name?
No, I don't.
Yeah, there was an
Please.
incident. Have you heard of the Battle of Los Angeles?
I thought there was a movie named The Battle of Los Angeles.
Well, I don't know, maybe, but in real life, there was what they call Battle of Los Angeles. There was something that was seen or reported or believed to have been there, something over the night sky in Los Angeles back in the 1940s. And the nation was on such high alert that um, they instituted a citywide blackout. The entire city, all lights off, and the only lights were military spotlights, searchlights, and anti-aircraft guns. They literally like lit up the night sky. Yeah, shooting anti-aircraft guns into the sky over Los Angeles at what they appeared to, or what they believed to be these things flying, unidentified. They had no idea what they were, what to call them. So um, they landed on just calling them Foo Fighters because UFO wasn't a thing yet. This was still during World War II, I believe, now that I'm thinking about it. So it
Oh wow.
would have been a couple years before all of this. But yeah, the army actually, yeah.
Um, um, what are like you know more than I do? Like early sightings of UFOs, what did they assume that they were? Because now they're saying that they actually know UFOs are flying around and stuff.
Yeah, the Battle of Los Angeles or the Great Los Angeles Air Raid, September 25th, 1942. U.S. forces fired over 1,400 anti-aircraft rounds at unidentified objects in the sky, causing 5 civilian deaths. It was only a few months after Pearl Harbor, and oh wait, not only the Pearl Harbor attack, but there was a nearby submarine attack. Did you know that the Japanese actually attacked the United States mainland during World War II? It was not just Pearl Harbor that they attacked. A
I did not
Japanese
know that.
Yeah, a Japanese submarine made it in all the way across the Pacific and off the shore of California. They surfaced, they fired their gun and shot. I mean, they didn't do much of anything, but they shot at and bombarded the coast of California and then went back down and they got away with it. So, yeah,
Hmm. That doesn't make my
Um,
stomach feel good.
right. Yeah. We got much better like sonar, buoys, arrays, and everything. We got our own subs there. American subs are the best in the world at this point, man. Don't worry. You're
Hmm.
safe. You're
Each
really
his
safe.
own. You think we're the
Oh,
safest?
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. From any sort of attack, it's a lot. It's a lot that any potential adversary would need to overcome in order to get any sort of actual meaningful impact. That's why there's those atypical asymmetric warfare tactics being used, flying airplanes into buildings and stuff, and driving trucks into, uh, you know, uh, parking garage basements and blowing them up next to structural pillars. Um,
Do you believe that the I believe recently they said someone was giving away um, United States trade secrets or something like that. Uh, I don't know if you guys heard about that. Um,
Happens all the
I
time,
said that.
unfortunately. You did? What was
Yes. I
um
said Donald Trump sold our,
oh,
and there's something else to that.
by virtue of the sale of the F-35s? Was that it? To Saudis? Or
Well, that was one thing.
these are
yeah,
subjects I know nothing about, so I look to you guys on days like
there's
these.
there's something to be said for that, I think, definitely, you know. But at the same time, the trade secrets and stuff, when you receive the final completed object of design or whatever with all of those trade secrets built into it and stuff, there's some things like the stealth component of stealth aircraft. They're not just the shape that's designed to reflect. There's um, a particular coating, a paint, so to speak, or something that, the external surface is extremely sensitive. You need to be very careful touching these things, because that stealth coating, if it's damaged in any way, it damages the aircraft's, advantages. Um, so you can have that. You can see what it is. You can test it, all of that, everything. But knowing what it is versus making it yourself when you don't have the industrial base to begin with is, I mean, people um, underestimate the amount of effort that it takes to reverse engineer something a lot of times. Um, I'm not saying that you do that or have done that ever. I'm just saying, general population, they hear, oh, they've got this such and such, like a jet engine, let's say just a single jet engine. Um, okay, so you have this compressor, these turbine section, the shaft spins, those turbine blades have to get exposed to temperatures that far exceed their own melting temperature. And they have to stay solid, they have to stay intact. So, how do you do that? They can take those blades and look at it and investigate the microstructure all the way down to the point where they can see the crystalline structure is a single crystal, the blade. It's not it's not a blade that is cast, it is not forged, it is grown as a crystal. How do you do that? If you don't have the industrial base, the knowledge base behind it, you can see, okay, single crystal blades,
All right.
but they gotta buy those from other people. They can't figure out just boom how to make that. That's a gigantic leap of technology. So um, I don't know. I have a little bit different of an opinion in that regard.
What was the opinion? I forget.
That selling, providing
Uh,
the aircraft, the weaponry constitutes handing over of trade secrets necessarily. It
Okay, uh,
can
how about this?
compromise, but I don't think that it's necessarily the same as just here you go.
You
There's
said we have the best nuclear submarines in the world, correct?
Mhm.
Trump reported to have told Australian billionaire after Anthony Pratt about tactical capabilities of U.S. submarines. Let me see another one.
Tactical capabilities.
Yep.
I mean, I don't see how that necessarily constitutes trade secrets.
Let's
Telling them
see.
what the sub can do. I mean, it's kind of like our fighters, you know, the F-35, technical capabilities. It can cruise at Mach 2 plus. How does telling anybody that constitute any risk to our Air Force? Um, I don't know. When it gets down to specific details of, submarine uh, reactor specifications and missile capacities and submariner um, training processes and stuff. That's a big thing. But just saying, um,
Well, let's just say
I,
this. If I don't know the parts of a submarine, I guarantee you Trump doesn't either. I'm
hmm.
not saying he went over parts of the machine. I'm just saying,
But another thing, I think you can't necessarily always necessarily believe that it's the truth either, right?
uh-huh.
Because exaggerating military capability is just as much of a deterrent as the actual military capability itself if your opponents believe you. So, to a certain extent, does it even really matter if it's true? Whatever capabilities he told Australian bro, dude, his friend, whatever. If it's true, then it's, if it isn't true, then, but Australia is also part of the Five Eyes coalition, so they're
What's
among
that?
our close allies. The United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the five largest English speaking military powers, um, all kind of buddy buddy, but um, uh, I don't
And as
know.
far as us being the safest country in the world, we are because Canada, a former friend at the north, and a better friend, a now partial ally to the west, Russia. I'll say that. Yeah, I think we are in cahoots with Putin because why else would we invade Venezuela? It's a communist country, sort of. It seems strange that we would, you know,
But
give
but
up all help.
why would the
Was it?
tanker, the super tanker, bound for Venezuela when being intercepted, try to reflag itself as Russian in order to evade the US if we're in cahoots with Putin.
What was that?
There was that one super tanker that was headed to Venezuela when we started blockading all of that, and it turned around, and we went, U.S. naval assets went, chased them basically halfway across the Atlantic Ocean, trying to intercept them. And during part of that voyage, they went and a couple of the crew members had gone and painted a little makeshift Russian flag on the. They tried to reflag themselves. Their transponder, they went and re-registered on a ship registry out of like Sevastopol or something. Um, they tried to pass themselves off as a Russian tanker and seek basically Russian naval assistance. Is that like a false
No,
flag?
no, no. I'm not that's not it. I think Trump has always been a friend of Putin's. He never wanted to help Ukraine unless he got something in return. He's got something in return now. He's got Venezuela, and he's going to leave Ukraine to dry. And they're going to fall eventually. I hope not. Um, and Putin is a dictator, and Trump is acting like a dictator now. We're seeing the first steps of that. We're in a military state in the cities, uh, or a police state, I would say. And now he's building prisons, mega prisons in the states. That's what's going on up north. That's what we see. You know, we see constant violation of the Bill of Rights, and I'm not liking this guy. And you could see uh, further connection to Russia with the Steele dossier, and um, that's that's very complicated. But and just I'm not going to bring up the Russian hackers, but and then not Russian hackers, the Russian bots. That's a huge difference.
Um, I'm gonna ask you to dig into it because you're talking about things I have no clue what you're talking about. Come on, man.
Okay,
I want
well,
to know.
let's just say Democrats are light years behind in campaigning. That's just they're very bad at getting the word out. They didn't realize that the internet exists, and Republicans jumped on it in 2016. Uh, Russian, but the Steele dossier connects Trump to Putin, and and they had many thousands of bots, people uh, uh, connecting and spreading lies on the internet. Pizzagate and all the garbage that about Hillary Clinton, and just just complete lies. And it is illegal for a foreign country to involve in an election. That is against the law. So if he
Is there any way to actually enforce that anymore these days now with the advent of the internet? Like anybody can influence American opinion from anywhere in the world with nothing but a bit of code and aiming it at social media.
Well, not if he went over there and made a deal, actually talked to him. Why would a country want to do that? What would be their motivation? They would have to hire people, and so that would have to be the incentive of the country hiring the bots, and we would have to, make a deal. They could randomly do it, obviously, uh, but um, if a country is established and their
Yeah,
leadership.
the resources of a nation state could very easily do this, honestly,
Yes,
even a lesser power.
but the key point is that we cannot uh, connect with another country in helping us. They can't give money. They can't do anything else like that. They do, and that was against the law. That was the law he broke in 2016.
There was a word you
One of the
used,
many.
many words you used. I wanted to ask what that word meant, but it just comes and it goes. Mark, you got something? I didn't write it
Um,
down.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how could we potentially fix this though? How could we how could we go about like firewalling, preventing opinion influence from coming outside of the United States, right? Foreign money doesn't need to enter the United States in order to be influencing our elections. So whether it happens the way that the law was explicitly written or not, what do we do? Can we even? Is it
I'm going to
possible?
say once again, why would we care? There's for most leaders around the world, we don't care. I mean, people care about like Netanyahu maybe, but they don't give a crap. I mean, uh, unless unless I was paid a good amount of money, I would not. Uh, I would not. What's the online word for bully online? I would not.
Troll?
Hmm,
Shill? Is it shill?
sure.
Shilling or
Yeah.
trolling?
I would. Yeah. I would not. I would not. Oh well. I'm right. Would not. Yeah. Unless I was paid a good amount of money, that would be the incentive to mess with, like, I don't know, the president of Austria. Why would I do that? I don't care. And they did this on a daily basis. They spread lies to like housewives and stuff. And that became the shift in the demographic. And people thought, people honestly thought she was, if you like conspiracies, Pizzagate and, you know, eating babies and such.
Well,
Uh,
to what extent was Pizzagate just the early rumblings of Epstein and his revelations and all that stuff? Honestly, like there really did turn out to be an underground ring There was,
Be-
and rich and
because
powerful
Pizzagate
of
wasn't
the United
true.
States.
It,
Well,
it's
I
What
mean,
is Pizzagate?
in
I'm
the
sorry.
it was a
We're
poorly
saying words I
formed.
don't know what they mean.
This is stuff we can't necessarily explicitly use, words that we cannot explicitly use on YouTube without getting flagged.
Uh,
They are acronyms. I'll text you what cheese
yeah,
pizza
it's
means.
it's pretty graphic.
uh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea what Pizzagate means, and it's a very interesting word. You've said it 4 times, and I didn't know exactly what it meant. I don't think I even asked what it meant, but now I'm asking. Uh, yeah, I'll
It
take
goes
your
back a way, but it's still kind of a joke now. But it wasn't a joke then because it was just spreading of lies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Hmm.
And that's an unfair comparison,
I'm sorry.
making the Pizzagate to Epstein, because one, you're assuming there's guilt there, and two, the conspiracy has no, it's a conspiracy. It's just, it's a lie.
I mean, the conspiracy behind Pizzagate was that there was a large, well, not large, but there was a cohort of rich and powerful involved in this act, this action, and then
Yeah.
Epstein appeared to have been a facilitator of actions eerily similar to what was described in the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. Not that it's true, but there were kind of early rumblings, and there are elements of truth, little tiny nuggets, but there is, it was taken and made into something ridiculous, and it could have been made into something ridiculous intentionally to hide what
Oh,
is actually
no,
there.
no, no. Don't go
No?
there. We need to take these elements of truth to see the nuance,
Mm.
you know, that one is crazy and one is true. And just because there's a coincidence does not make them similar.
I don't
You
know if I
know,
agree that it's a coincidence.
Argue your point.
I mean,
okay, well, let's try another one. If you're saying just because it was a sex market, if it applies to Hillary Epstein, there's
well,
been other
I'm not
sex
saying
markets.
any particular individuals, any of the
Okay,
politicians. I'm
yeah,
not saying Hillary, none of that. Just that there was alleged to be a ring of brokers of all sorts of unsavoriness. And
the same logic would apply to Playboy Mansion, or
I mean, that was pretty gross too.
yes, and so would I mean, and but there was none of, you know, that other stuff. I mean, there's no connection. Do you think they were doing all that other stuff at the same time at the
Are other stuff is extremely vague. Are you
I can't go into
when they
specifics
say
of Pizzagate. Like
blackmail? Is that safe to say? Because I
well,
definitely
yeah,
think
yeah.
that there was blackmail going on both with the
Let's say
Playboy Mansion and in
let's say
Epstein.
eating of certain things.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's nuts.
yeah.
Like some of
If,
I mean, when you start to get into weird, like occultic practices of the Pizzagate, like that goes way off the deep end. But I think there were nuggets of truth at the very beginning of the surface level of it, and then the crazies go off the rails. But at
hey,
the same time, I
um,
can see that that makes me appear to be picking and choosing. I can choose what I want. Confirmation bias. There we go. That's it. Confirmation bias, right? There was some
okay, and
similarities in some of the things there, and there was some things over here. So boom, they must have been, right? And that's not valid logical reasoning, but that's also not a refutation either, necessarily.
mhm.
It's
I,
just that
I,
I have not necessarily made a point or made the point that I had proposed, right? Um, you're right about that.
and this is what happened to so many Americans. They got, they read this stuff and, it got in their heads and, it just tipped them over a little, you know, it's just, but yeah, I'm just coming to the conclusion that conspiracies and real life can have coincidences.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
That's my
Can
conclusion on
have,
that.
can have, but that not to the point of will have, though, necessarily. Can have, but
Well,
that a coincidence isn't necessarily pointing out that they're not right, or how do I say? Can have coincidence, but that not every co-occurrence is a coincidence, right? Sometimes when there's a common thread between two things, there is actually something there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just check something real quick.
Hmm. Probably not to eat breakfast, but it's cooling down.
mhm.
Mm. Um, yeah, a lot of the articles that I was looking through today all had stuff to do with the Epstein files, and I didn't know if you guys want to dig into that.
There's
That's a whole
there's New
that's a whole
York
nother topic right
Magazine
there.
is pointing out in the Epstein files, pizza does mean what they thought it meant.
Hmm. What'd you
Uh,
say?
hey, well,
Here. Uh,
me or Pookie?
oh, yeah, you, Mark.
I just did a quick search, Pizzagate Epstein, and there's Something up at the top. Don't know if it's true. Can't take it at face value, but New York Magazine supposed saying Pizzagate was not real, right? In the latest tranche of Epstein materials, pizza appears to mean what you think it means. I don't know. I don't know what does that mean? Whatever you think it means. Ah,
Um, yeah, the news is full of articles. Everything has something to do with Epstein. On
Yeah, it's
um,
been in the news for a pretty long time, ever since they released um released quote. I mean, if you can't see that, I mean, if you're listening to this, um, the files, but of course, most of the files are redacted, and so yeah.
um, yeah, there's an article here that says Andrew Mountbatten Windsor arrested in suspicion of misconduct over public office with ties to Epstein. Um, yeah, there's so much about Epstein, and I never even understood what any of that had anything to do with. I mean, like real people, but uh, I mean, I'm not gonna say real people, but I meant like the average day person. I thought that was just like some famous people news um, that only people involved may have known things about. But this is just me
Man,
not knowing anything and not keeping up with that stuff. So yeah, someone's like, that
that
kid's stupid.
was
What do you think?
man, that
I
was the
don't know much
king's
about that.
brother. The Windsor guy, that was the king's brother. They wow. Um, I was looking at the TV. Um, what was up? What were we talking about?
Andrew
Just more
Mountbatten
Windsor.
Windsor.
Epstein.
I
Hmm?
can read the Andrew Windsor article. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I just I'm watching actually the story. It's on TV right now. Um,
oh wow!
uh, uh, former-
Suspicion of misconduct in
yeah.
public office related to Jeffrey
Okay.
Epstein.
Mm.
It's not really a whole
All right.
article. It's kind of just saying something about it. Okay.
Yeah.
It says the former Prince Andrew was arrested by British police Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office related to his links to Jeffrey Epstein, an extraordinary move in a country where authorities once sought to shield the royal family from embarrassment. It was the first time in nearly 4 centuries that a senior British royal was placed under arrest, and it underscored how difference to the monarchy has eroded in recent years. King Charles III, whose late mother lived by the motto, in quote, never complain, never explain, took the unusual steps of issuing a statement on the arrest of his brother, now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
How about this
It's good to
one
see.
from New Yorker after a dump of Epstein thing or Epstein files? They said in a 2018 exchange with his urologist Harry Fish, the two seemed to discuss refilling Epstein's prescription for erectile dysfunction medication. Fish later texts, after you use them, wash your hands and let's go get pizza and grape soda. The proposal seems odd. There are many things you can do after your Viagra kicks in, and getting a slice of pizza with your doctor is not near the top of that list. In another context, it might just be funny, but the confluence of pizza and grape soda with Epstein, a man increasingly known for exactly one thing, and boner pills is enough to drive a reasonable person to conjecture. Remember when only unreasonable people thought like this? The idea that pizza could be a code word for illicit sexual activities was laughable in 2016 when the Pizzagate conspiracy captured imaginations of what might charitably called the internet's most enthusiastic users. Yeah, 4chan is nuts. The theory emerged after WikiLeaks publicly released personal emails of Hillary for America campaign chair John Podesta. Oh yeah, the Podesta email. Yeah, never take anything that comes out of 4chan at face value. Never, never. But I would hesitate to dismiss everything that comes out of 4chan out of hand too. Huh? I don't know. The best conspiracy theories start out with a little grain of truth, and that's how you get them to be believable.
Hmm.
Mm.
And when they're damning to
Uh,
both sides of the aisle, nobody really wants anything to be figured out. Yeah, the satanic stuff, cannibalism, add that on top to discredit anything else, and you got yourself the makings of a nice conspiracy theory. Sprinkle a little
mm,
chemtrails, right? And the UFO overlords will be happy. The reptilians. Oh,
The,
wait, no, the reptilians are from underground, right? Or is it the ant people? No, the reptilians are the
more,
shape.
the Morlocks, or
Oh,
there's the
H.G.
Morlock.
Wells.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
that's that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The
and
warlock. And I forget the name of the about the Eloi, I think.
was it a gourd or not a gourd? Not a something with a G.
I don't know. I gotta look it up.
Shatner fought on Star Trek.
Oh, Gorn. Yeah, the Gorn.
Gorn. I called it a gourd.
Yeah, Gorn. Hey, close. One letter off. Yeah, just a big
um,
tall guy with a little lizard mask on.
Yeah.
I
I
love it.
want you to
His
come back, Kevin.
double fist punches, Shatner.
Hey, Kevin,
Yeah.
you got time to meet with us on Saturday? Um, yeah, I want to talk about conspiracy theories. Yeah, find as much
Yeah.
as you can on conspiracy theories, and we'll start this again on Saturday. Saturday, 9 a.m. 9
Everybody
a.m. Pacific.
go do some homework and come in with one or two favorite conspiracy theories. Like,
All right.
I could, yeah, I could probably do this. Saturdays are a little tough, but uh, uh like, yeah,
Monday,
I could, um,
I'll do my homework and you do
yeah,
yours, and we
that,
come together Saturday morning.
that
Well,
sounds great.
Saturday Pacific time.
All right. Oh, are we done?
yeah,
We can be.
maybe we can
Yeah,
keep
it's
going.
been
I don't know.
nice.
I'm
Mark in the morning. Thanks for coming.
doing nothing for the
Uh,
rest of the day.
Actually, Pookie and Mark in the morning. We're trying to change
Pookie
it to
first.
it's both of us.
Yes,
So yeah,
Pookie first. Pookie started it.
Pookie and Mark in the morning. It's still Mark in the morning, but it's Pookie and Mark in the morning. See, I
Hmm.
wanted to use Mark in the morning. He wasn't as fond of it as I was,
No,
but
not that I wasn't
still
fond.
gets
I
to use
just
Mark in
felt
the morning. I'm just
he
saying
deserved
Pookie and Mark in the morning.
the top billing, right? So
Um,
yes, it's
to each his
the
own.
Pookie
I
Show
would
with
so.
Mark in the morning.